I'm Carolee Garrison, singer-songwriter, self-care coach for burnt-out moms, and your host of the Seeking Sunshine podcast, where we find the positive in the trials of life.
There are times when life just brings you down, 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 down to the ground. And it's hard when you can't see the light, 'cause things don't look so bright. So now it's time to reframe and retrain your brain. It's time to look for the good. You know that you should. Why don't you join me? 'Cause I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. Oh, oh, oh. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine.
I'm so excited to share this new version of my single Seeking Sunshine with you in my upcoming album. I don't have a release date yet, but stay tuned, it's coming up. Are you looking for ways to support my podcast? If so, then please like it, subscribe it, and leave it a review. Did you know that if you leave a review, it helps my podcast get shown to more people? I would so appreciate it if you could leave some words in the review box and let people know. Share this with your friends and family and just tell them about the episodes that you really like and some of the takeaways that you've personally received and that have helped you out. Do you have a story to share? I would love to interview you for my podcast. I want to hear all about you and what you've been through and how you've been able to seek sunshine in your journey. Please reach out to me. You can send me a message in DMs on social media, or you can even send me an email at caroleegarrison@gmail.com. I would love to talk to you. Hey guys, welcome back to the Seeking Sunshine podcast. This is actually day 2 of my special week-long self-care workshop that I am so thrilled to share with you. This week is really an incredible week to join me in this workshop where I get to teach about how we can care for ourselves better. This workshop it's geared toward burnt out moms, but really this is information that can help anybody who's just looking to improve their self-worth and how you care for you, which is an incredibly important thing to do. It will change your entire life, really. So today is day 2 of the self-care workshop, where we are going to talk about honoring our humanity, which is really about our physical bodies and everything we need to do to care for this human that is us. So welcome to day 2. We're going to just dive right in. Welcome to day 2 of the Dare to Self-Care from Burnout to Bliss workshop. Today we are going to talk about the H in the Shine method, which is my personal method for helping us learn how to care for ourselves better. So the H stands for honor your humanity. So this is the part of self-care that everyone talks about. This is the part of self-care that everybody focuses on the most. And so I'm finding for myself that some of the parts of this are my weakest link. There's 3 parts of this. There's the physical routines, and then the mental routines, and then combating stress and overwhelm. And the physical routines in some ways, mostly exercise. That would be my weakest link. So I will be totally upfront with you right there. This is the part that I personally have to work on the most. But what's been really, really interesting is that as I've been studying and learning how to, become a self-care coach and pulling all the pieces together, because there is a course that I found, like how to be a self-care coach, and I felt like it was not very good. I didn't really think that there was, especially for me, I'm a mom of 3 special needs kids. My life is crazy. My life is utterly chaotic all the time. And it's like, how do you, I can't just rely on other people to come watch my kids whenever I want, I actually don't really have anybody. My kids get to go to school and that's my free time. And so I took this course and I was like, this needs more. there needs to be more here. And so that's why I've developed this program. And I've been pulling parts from all over the place. And some of the parts I've been looking at are like time management skills and stress release. And what I have found really interesting about stress release is all of the people who talk about stress and keeping your stress levels low, they all talk about exercise. So I can't just not include that, even though it's my weak link and I have to work on it. So that's a little, preview of what we're going to talk about in a few minutes. The first thing I want to do is go back over self-worth. I've loved your thoughts on self-worth. Alicia, she said her biggest takeaway was the meditation. I love that so much. Meditation is essential, and we're going to talk about that more today too, because that's part of the mental routines. Did anybody else have any great takeaways from yesterday, something you learned? And while you're typing that and waiting for it to come in, I do want to ask if you have a chance to grab the workbook for today. If you are doing it on your computer, you should probably make a copy of it. It would be ideal if you printed it. And I swear I am going to learn how to do this better. I've actually never made workbooks before, and apparently there are better ways to do it than through Google Docs. So I'm going to improve that, and I'm going to make it better. And you know what? I'm also going to stand here and tell you that I'm proud of the workbooks I made. I think they are beautiful and helpful and inspiring, right? Even as they are imperfect. So the link for the workbook is in the description at the top of the live. It's also, I posted it last night in the group, I think. So that should be not too hard to find. If you are not a workbook person, and I said this yesterday, I'm not a workbook person. I never do workbooks. If you're not a workbook person, then that is totally fine. I'm going to just go through it. I'm going to ask you all the questions on it, and you can just think about it in your mind. You don't have to write anything down. If you are in the middle of chaos right now, I completely understand, because that is also my life, right? So, tell me if you have any thoughts about yesterday's workshop, and if you had any thoughts about the homework. The homework was a really, really deep dive into ourselves and forgiving ourselves for being, imperfect humans. So I'd love to know if you had any thoughts on the homework. And actually, the very first question in the workbook is, how did yesterday's conversation about self-worth change your perspective about self-care? Have you ever considered that self-worth could be tied to how you do self-care? Is that something that's ever crossed your mind? Because to me, it's extremely important, and it's the basis. But you know what? I didn't always know that. I didn't always realize that. And for a really long time, my self-worth was terrible. For a really, really long time. And I think that's true of a lot of us. And I believe that the higher your self-worth is, the easier it is to do self-care, specifically self-care that is meaningful. Self-care that's actually going to help you, because you have the self-respect to actually be introspective and look and go, okay, here's what I actually need. All right, so tell me if you are here. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're watching the replay, that's amazing. Please type #replay so that I can know that you are here. Because again, we have giveaways. Here are the giveaways. I'm going to announce them again. I'm giving away 3 one-on-one coaching sessions, which is like amazing. I'm so thrilled that I get to give this away. One-on-one coaching sessions, we get to deep dive into the things that you particularly need. What's going on in your life? What's going on in your situation? How are you struggling as an individual? Because everything that I'm presenting this week it's essential. It's incredible information that I'm sharing, but it is not personalized to you. It's kind of, I don't want to say generic, but it's kind of stuff that would really help anybody. And maybe you need something that is just for you. Maybe you need some ideas and some outside the box thinking, somebody to look at your situation from the outside that can really make a world of difference. And I've been there, I've had one-to-one coaching and I've seen what an incredible difference that it can make. So I'm giving away 3 one-on-one sessions with me as a self-care coach, and we can deep dive into whatever you want. You get entered into these giveaways by inviting 10 or more people to the workshop, which you can still do. You get entered by watching all the videos, which you can still do because they're all available here on replay if you miss them live. And you get entered for the last one if you do all the homework, because there's going to be a small piece of homework every day. And this homework is not meant to be like busy work. This is homework that is meant to help you really deep dive into yourself, to help you grow. And I have personally seen how these different homework assignments can like absolutely change your perspective. And when your perspective is changed, you could change your life, right? So before we dive into our meditation, because I want to make sure like that everybody gets to come, and it looks like we're going to have some background music because my husband's upstairs singing, so I guess we're going to have some background music for our meditation today. Yay. So I have a piece of personal vulnerability that I'm going to share with you that actually a coach of mine coached me and encouraged me to share with you guys. And it's all in the name of vulnerability and honesty. So I wrote this last week in a question to her. I wrote, right now, I'm struggling with balance, and I would love some advice on that. I'm putting together a self-care workshop for burnt out moms, and ironically, I am burning myself out creating it. I know I should have given myself more time to prepare, but here I am anyway. I tend to get wrapped up in big projects and let everything else fall away for a while as I plunge in deeper and deeper at the expense of my house, my family, and my own self-care. I know I need to just trust that it will work out the way God wants it to, but I can't seem to help my tendency to try to force things to go the way I want them to. So that was my letter. And as I think about what I had written, what's kind of funny is that the reason that this whole thing was burning me out so much is because I didn't have any time to work on it. Again, I have 3 special needs kids. I spend like 3 or 4 hours a day driving them and my husband around to all the places that they have to go, and I don't actually have a ton of time to work on projects like this. I'm a singer-songwriter, although, let's be honest, I haven't been working on that a lot recently. But I do have my podcast, which I had tons and tons of people recording in January. And it just sort of all was happening at once. And I was going, okay, how am I supposed to get anything done for this workshop? I'm feeling really overwhelmed. And it's really funny because here I am teaching you guys as burnt out moms, feeling burnt out myself. And it's just evidence that this is a process. And even when you know all the steps and you know all the things that you should be doing, sometimes we have to be reminded. Sometimes we don't do it perfectly, and then our self-care struggles and all the other things start to struggle, right? And so this is just to tell you that like I'm right here with you. I am not perfect. I am struggling with this too, but I've been through a decade plus of this struggle, so I feel like I have more tools at my disposal to help me when I get there. So that's what I was going to share with you. What I thought was really amazing is her response, her coaching response that I want to share with you to my little letter that I wrote her. She said, you have 3 kids that all, hi Leticia, no worries. She said, you have 3 kids that are all special needs. Do you get any help? And I was like, well, not really. They go to school, and she's going, no wonder you feel overwhelmed. No wonder you feel like you need to control the situation because you don't have control anywhere else. And I really, really valued that perspective because it is such a grace-filled way to look at my own little flaws. And I hope that you can also look at your flaws from that state of grace, from that state of compassion, which we talked about. We talked about compassion yesterday. Like, how can you look at the things you wish you were doing better from a forgiving standpoint? And so what she told me, you know, that of course you want to control everything. You have so little control in your life that makes total sense. And I was like, oh my gosh, what a beautiful way to look at that and to forgive myself when I feel like I'm not implementing the things that I'm teaching people. Yeah. All right. So we're going to do our meditation for the day. I hope that you guys are okay with this. I know meditation can be really weird for people who've never done it before, but it is so important. And I think I said this yesterday, but I'm going to repeat it. To me, meditation is like a prayer. And sometimes it's like saying the prayer as we think of certain things, but a lot of times it's like listening for the answer to the prayer. So, and then and it can often be like affirmations, which we're going to talk about tomorrow, and there's some of that in here, and it's all good. Okay? Just give it a chance. It'll be good, and it will be short, I promise. All right, so everybody close your eyes. And I want you to take some really deep breaths, because we do not breathe deeply often enough. And those deep breaths are really, really nourishing. I feel like it's so easy to get stressed out and do shallow breathing. But if we can pause when we're in the middle of that stress and remember to take a deep, deep breath. Those deep breaths are really, really calming to our minds. So keep your eyes closed and keep breathing deep into your body and deep into your soul. Your body is amazing. Your legs have carried you so far. They have carried you as you have run after children to keep them safe. Your arms have scooped up babies to cradle them and cuddle them as they cry. Your hands have wiped away tears. Your body, for many of us, has carried and delivered those babies. And in case you don't know this, and in case you need to hear this right now, that is a legacy that is going to change the world. Those humans that you are raising and caring for, that you carried in your womb, that you struggle and you sacrifice for, they are the future. And your sacrifice for them means everything. Your sacrifice for them means everything. Every dirty bum that gets wiped has value. Every tear you wipe, every time you love and correct in love and teach them how to be humans, you are changing the world. What you do makes a difference and will continue to make a difference for generations to come. Today we're talking about honoring our humanity. You are human. And that is an incredibly beautiful, powerful thing. You didn't make it this far in life for nothing. You are here for a reason. And if you want to continue to make a huge difference, you have to honor the body and the mind that you were given to do those things with. If you don't care for yourself, that body will slowly begin to decay and to waste away and no longer have the capacity and the strength to give and change the world. It is essential for you to honor your hands, honor your arms. If you have pain in your body, honor it. It is there because you have sacrificed and loved. Give it care in return. If your mind is struggling, if it is filled with chaos, honor it. Give it rest. Rest is not selfish. Rest is renewal. And when you are renewed, your energy will go forth to every single person around you and renew them in turn. When you feed yourself, you feed others. Take some more really deep breaths. Your body is amazing. And it deserves to be honored. I want you to picture all of the negative things that you've said about your body. Maybe you've told it it's not good enough. Maybe you've told it it's too fat or too slow or too wrinkly. Maybe you've told it it has the wrong color hair or curly hair when it should be straight. I want you to take all of the things, the negative self-talk that you have told to your body over the years. Imagine it all written down on a piece of paper. And then crumple that paper up and throw it away. Those thoughts are not welcome here. Your body is incredible and it deserves love. And no longer are we going to accept anything else. Continue to breathe really deeply. Let's do another 3 deep breaths. As you think about throwing away into the garbage all of the garbage thoughts that you've had about your body, anything that wasn't loving, I want you to open your heart to that feeling of love for you. Your body has carried you through everything. It has healed itself from paper cuts, and it has fought its way through unimaginable pain. And it deserves nothing but love. blow out some of those negative feelings. And breathe in the love for this physical being that has carried you so far. You can put your hands on your heart, or you can put your arms around yourself and give yourself a hug. From now on, we're going to be nice to our bodies. We're going to treat our bodies as nicely as we do our kids. We would never dream of saying those hurtful things to them, yet they come into our mind constantly to tell us all the ways that we're not good enough. But those are just thoughts, and those thoughts are wrong. And we have the ability to pause and open our hearts to love whenever those thoughts come back. We can shush them away and remember how incredible our bodies are. You can slowly start opening your eyes. I find that meditation like that is so powerful. And oftentimes, things come up that I had never even considered yet. Powerful, powerful inspiration that can help us to appreciate our God-given gifts of our bodies. All right. So we're going to move on. I really hope that you can start using meditations like that. They're everywhere on the internet. You can search YouTube. They're all over the place. And you can find meditations under whatever topic you want. But they are so helpful to do daily. And we're actually going to dive into that in a few minutes. But the first section that we're going to talk about is physical routines. So physical routines is the part of self-care that everybody talks about, right? You know, you do self-care by exercising all the time, right? We do self-care by eating right. I think I've mostly focused on exercise in the workbook, and I think that was probably because that's what I need the most. But there's actually 3 parts to the physical routine part that I want to talk about. So exercise is the first one we're going to talk about, because our bodies are amazing and they can do all these incredible things. But sometimes we get so wrapped up in our day-to-day lives that we forget to move. So I can tell you the routine that I do right now. I used to go work out regularly. I have not done that in a little while. But what I do try to do is every morning before my kids go to school, we stretch together. And we lift our arms up in the air as high as we can, and then we touch our toes, and then we do some twists, and we do some lunges. And I found it really nice because my kids actually want to participate because they've been learning these things in PE. And so they are happy to tell me all the correct names of the different things that I'm showing them, right? That I'm guiding them through this stretching thing. They're going, oh, in PE we call that, this name or whatever. And then sometimes they get to lead it. My kids are a little older. They're 12, 11, and 8. And so sometimes they want to lead our 2-minute morning stretch because they've been learning ones in PE, and it helps them to feel like they get to be in charge for a few minutes. So my point with telling you that is just that as busy, burnt out moms, it often feels like physical activity is just not going to happen. And look, there's a lot of amazing, amazing women who are all like, I go jog every day, and I go work out several times a week, and I go on walks outside, and like, that's freaking amazing. And if that is you, like, way to go. You're a rock star, and own that, because that's amazing. That's not me. I am not that person. Right now, what my physical routine looks like is that 2-minute stretch every morning with my kids. And, over the summer when it's not snowing anymore, we'll go hiking more often. And it's one that, like I said, this is my weakest link, is the physical routines, right? And so, you start small, and it's okay to start small. It's okay to start with a 2-minute stretch. It's okay to start where you're at. All right? None of these routines are meant to be, stressful things to add on. These are supposed to be things that help you feel better. This is actually what we're talking about today, is preventative self-care. Right? If your bucket is already full, if your car is already filled with gas, it's a lot easier to go all the places you need to go. If your cup's already filled, then it's already ready to pour into other people's cups. So this is preventative self-care. This is how you integrate self-care into your daily life so that you have more when you're asked to give, right? And I have found it really, really essential when things get particularly chaotic, and when things are just out of control, like randomly, like when things are like, one day's just like really excruciatingly hard, and I'm like, how did I make it through the day? Oh, it's because I did these things in my routine that helped me to have that capacity later on. So there are some questions for you here. We're not going to take a long time on them, but I'll go through them really quick. What are your favorite ways to move your body? I mean, like I said, I do stretching, but walking, dancing, doing a family dance party is amazing. And we used to do that, and we need to get back into it, actually. But doing a 3 to 4 minute song with your kids, and turning the volume up, and then just dancing together is one of the most fun ways to get everyone to move their body together. And that's one that works amazing, even with like little kids. It's a party, and it gives you so much energy, and it's really an amazing thing to do. I have found this quote: exercise not only changes your body, it changes your mind, your attitude, and your mood. So many people talk about how like their self-care is all about physical exercise, and how it just absolutely will change your mind and give you that clarity and that capacity, and it can be really incredible. So why? I want to talk about the why. Why do you move your body? Like, what's the point? And I can tell you, like, it was an object in motion stays in motion, and an object at rest wants to stay at rest. If we have not moved our bodies all day, oh my gosh, it's really hard to get going, right? But if you can start off slowly with just a stretch, maybe a dance party, start off with something small, with walking out in nature. Like, that's a huge one. Just start off with something. That makes it so much easier to get throughout our day. Like, our body just feels better when we do that. So why do you move your body? I can tell you that one of my biggest, maybe even my very, very biggest reason to move my body is that my youngest is a little overweight, and I really, really, really want to implement good habits for my kids to help them, be happy, healthy adults that are not overweight. For anyone who doesn't know, I had gastric sleeve surgery a couple years ago, and being overweight's definitely been a theme of my life, and my family of origin's all kind of overweight, and so I really am. That's one of my biggest motivators is my kids, is that I want to, change maybe this generational pattern and start doing healthier physical things. And that actually, that goes right into nutrition. But let me ask you the last couple things on here. Research says getting regular exercise is one of the most effective ways to cope with stress. Have you ever considered using exercise as a coping mechanism? I can tell you that some of the most amazing times that my family has had, and again, I have 3 special needs kids, so they don't get along. They often never like the same things. But last summer, we would go hiking, and even my severely autistic, semi-verbal child absolutely loved it. Like, he hates exercise, he hates PE, he hates doing all those things, and then he was begging for it. So once the snow is gone a little bit, we're gonna go back to that. But like, it's actually a really incredible unifying thing that can help you with stress. So I want you to write down or think about 3 creative ways that you can add more movement into your day. I can tell you, like, I don't sit all day. I don't work in an office. But when I am sitting, when I'm doing podcast interviews, if you can see me, which some people can't, I spin in this chair all day. I'm not great at sitting still. Parking further away at the grocery store, which sounds dumb, but like, go do that. Like, it gives you extra steps. What's really fun is having a watch where you can track your steps. I mean, I swear to you, I got this one for like $20 on Amazon, and it's lasted me for several years now. And it tells me how many steps. And when you have a goal for steps, that can be a really motivating thing. And then you can see how you feel. Like, what's really amazing is to track how you feel when you have exercise included in your day versus when you don't. So nutrition. So write down 3 creative ways. We talked about hiking. We talked about dance parties. We talked about stretching. If you have any other ideas, please put them in the comments. I want to hear them. I want to hear your other creative ways to move your body that's not just like going to the gym. One of the things I used to do when my kids were much younger and they were smaller, so we'd pick them up and okay, throwing them around sounds bad, but they loved it. Like tossing them up in the air, and that was like such a workout for me, was to play with my kids like that. Another way to play with your kids in a physical way is to, let them ride on your back and do piggyback rides and like do stuff like that. Like, kids absolutely are thrilled when parents jump into the physical activity. It makes a world of difference to them. That's when they really feel seen and heard. And yeah, it's a hard one. Like, there's no lie to it. And again, this is the part of all of this that I feel like I struggle at the most. So this is food for thought. Ways to help you cope with stress. Exercise. Exercise is a tool in your tool belt, and you don't have to use that tool if it's too much for you, but it's an option. And my big question for you then is, have you tried it? And how can you do it in a really easy way? How can you find a really simple way to implement that? All right. The next one I'm going to briefly touch on is nutrition. And that, I really want to talk about nutrition in the way of like, are you getting all the nutrients you actually need? Like, I'm not going to go into the whole, like, sugar is bad for you. Like, I don't even want to go there. Let's be honest. Again, this is my worst section. But you have to make sure that your body is getting the protein it needs and the water it needs and the nutrients it needs. So if you're not eating great, maybe try some vitamins, because they can make a huge difference in how you feel. Like, if you're feeling like crap, go get like a blood panel done and see where you're lacking. Because I can tell you, like, when I had my blood work done and I was shy on like B12, and then I added B12 into my vitamins, like, it made a big difference. We're gonna talk about like doing a self-check and like going through and like seeing, checking how you feel. Some of the things that are on that list that you're checking for is like, have I eaten recently? Did I eat a cookie and expect it to last me 4 hours? Or did I eat something with protein a couple hours ago and I'm still going strong because I ate something that was going to last? You know, when you eat, and here's the thing, I'm not a nutritionist. I am so far from that, and I am not an exercise junkie, but these are the things that are pretty easy to find on the internet. And the truth is that most of us already know. We already know that these things are important. But are we doing them? And if we're not doing them, how can we start small? How can we add more vegetables into our diet? Which, let's be honest, is amazing for our kids too. How can we add a little bit more in and just start at the level that we're at? The last one I'm going to talk about in this physical routines thing is hygiene, which this one I'm great at. I love this one. This one's my favorite. When I talk about hygiene, I'm talking about, have you showered today? Did you make sure that you had time to brush your teeth? And when you're a burnt out mom, a lot of times these things in this physical realm that we're, told these are the things to do for self-care, these are the things that like disappear. These are the things that are really noticeable that we aren't doing. Have you brushed your hair today? Have you showered today? Have you done all those things? My personal thing, and I will tell you right off the bat that I know that this is not for everybody. I know that this is for me, and I will stand by it till the day I die, but I know that it's not for everybody. I do my hair and my makeup every single morning without fail. I spend about an hour, and I sit and I do my hair and I do my makeup and I drink my protein shake and I listen to something inspiring, whether it's scriptures or a podcast or something like that, right? And I fill my cup. And I have been doing this every single morning since I was a teenager, I think. At least since I was married. I did this when I was pregnant. I did this when I was in the hospital. I did this, when I was in labor, about to go in to be induced, and then it turned out I was in labor, right? I do this every morning without fail. I do my hair and I do my makeup. And if you are not a makeup person, then by all means do not do this. But the point that I'm making is that every day I spend an hour filling my cup. I spend an hour filling me with the fuel that I need to get through my day. And very, very frequently in the last decade of my very chaotic life, this was the only thing I did for myself during the day. And most of the time it's interrupted. This is not just me sitting by myself for an hour. I mean, that is the goal, but I get interrupted a lot from my kids because I'm not getting up at the crack of dawn to do this, right? But it has absolutely made a world of difference in my life that I spend time on myself, making myself feel like myself, filling my cup, fueling up, doing what I need to do every single day. So my question for you is, are you doing something for you every day? And I also want to implore to you, is that even the right word? I don't even know. Want to make sure you know that doing those things first thing in the morning, before you're up taking care of other people, is really helpful. Now, don't get me wrong, like, if you have a newborn, if you have little kids, like, sometimes you just have to get them their little thing taken care of before you can sit down and do you. But if you make you a priority, it will change your life. For 1 hour. For 1 hour a day, or less. Like, again, the 1 hour a day doing my hair and my makeup every day, that is me. That's what makes me feel incredible during my whole day. That's what makes it so that I have the capacity to deal with my screaming kids for the next 8 hours. Is there some way that you can take time for you every morning if you're not already doing it? That's my challenge for you. All right. So we are going to move on to section 2, which is mental routines. We tend to focus on physical over mental, but it's at least equally important. The mental health is so important. And when I tell you that the physical routines tend to drop away when we get burnt out, oh my goodness, the mental routines may as well just not exist, right? I'm sure you guys already know this. So, as I do my daily routine of getting ready every morning, I'm not just physically doing, hygiene and whatnot. It's also mental health. I'm listening to something inspiring. I am putting love and attention into me, right? So sometimes there's this great quote that I have in the worksheet, the workbook thing, and it says, sometimes the most important thing that you can do is to relax. We were talking yesterday about this whole scenario, which is hypothetical, but it's also not, because it's just like life sometimes, right? Where your house is a mess and your dishes are dirty and everything seems to be coming at you at once, and you choose to sit and watch TV, or you choose to read a book, or you choose to do something for you instead of doing the dishes. And how we should not be going back and then kicking ourselves for not doing the dishes. We should own our choice to sit and relax. And that's where this quote comes in. Sometimes the most important thing you can do is to relax. And again, like, we're going to go into the self-check in the next section, and it's like so important. Like, when half the time when I'm doing this little self-check, like, one of the first things I realize is, oh my gosh, I haven't sat down all day. Does that ever happen to you? Do you ever get overwhelmed at your kids and you're feeling, mad and scared and stressed, and then you realize that, oh, I haven't stopped going all day long? That's where this section comes in. So our mental routines are all about that preventative self-care, but for our minds. I've been implementing a meditation practice every morning, which adding on to my hour routine has never been an easy thing. But sometimes, like, okay, at the max, I'm talking 10 minutes for me. And at the least, sometimes it's like 30 seconds of just sitting with nothing. Sitting quietly, no sounds, not trying to do anything. And it's not like trying to not think of stuff. It's just allowing there to be silence and not filling that silence. Like, just letting there be silence. Like, seriously, even just a couple of minutes or 30 seconds, if that's all you have. If you can do that before your kids get up, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. And what's interesting is that I found that sometimes for a lot of us, sitting in silence is scary. And it brings up things like we feel this anxious need to fill the silence, right? Do any of you ever feel like that? For a really long time, and let's be honest, I'm totally still working on it. I realized that one of my limiting beliefs is that if I'm not always being productive, then I'm not doing my best. And I definitely didn't count relaxing as being productive. But sometimes a lot of times, regularly, on a day-to-day basis, we need that space. Our mind needs that time to just be without any demands. So that's what I wanted to talk about here, is like, it's essential. And what's really funny is something I found, because like I told you before, I'm a singer-songwriter. And for a long time, I tried to like make really, really inspirational songs, right? I was like, this is going to be so inspiring. It's going to make everyone feel great. And then the songs that I wrote were really cliche and not very inspiring. They were very forced. And then I started just letting inspiration come and trying to really be patient as I let it happen. And what I found was I always got inspiration when I got in the shower, because often it was the only time of my day where I was not mentally jumping through hoops and doing something else. And so as a singer-songwriter, that's been a humongous lesson to me, is that if you're looking for inspiration in your life, if you're looking for that spiritual fulfillment that you're missing, are you taking time to listen for it? Are you hearing it? Are you letting the world around you be quiet and your heart be still? And that doesn't mean shutting off all your thoughts, because for most of us, that's pretty much impossible, right? Meditation does not mean like sitting in perfect stillness all the time. You just start where you are. If your mind's all chaos, I mean, I certainly didn't jump into my showers going, okay, I'm just going to think of nothing and this is going to be my... No, I just got in the shower, which means that the whole day's stuff, because I shower at night, was like running through my mind. But because this was the first time that I had allowed silence, that I had allowed myself to not have any other, high-minded demands, right? Nothing that made me think a lot, right? That's the time when inspiration would strike. So, if you're looking for inspiration in your life, try some silence. It will make a huge difference. Like, it really will, I swear. So, what are some of the ways that you can care for your mental health? And this goes back to the self-check. It's like you have to sit and you have to think about what you need. What do you need? Do you need more silence in your day? Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert that needs more people in your day? What do you need? And I can tell you right now, from my own experience, that there are ways to get these things into your life more. There's ways to get more people in your life when you're stuck home with special needs kids, which is me. Hello, hi. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm on the internet doing this thing and talking to you. Yeah, daily positive affirmations. That is so important. Especially if you're struggling with negative thoughts, which I think we all do. Like, I think that's a really universal thing. Tomorrow we're going to go through an amazing list of positive affirmations when we talk about inner wholeness, and it is so good. Like, all of these parts of this shine method, they all just kind of go together, right? But you have to kind of split them up so they're easier to understand. All right. So, how are you? This is such an important question, and it's going to seem random, but it's not. In what ways are you numbing your emotions? You're burnt out. You're crazy busy. You never get time for yourself. We're all numbing our emotions, so you don't need to tell me that you're not. But how are you numbing your emotions? Some of the really, and again, this is like Brene Brown stuff. She's freaking brilliant, and I highly recommend her books. But she talks about this a lot. Like, we all numb our emotions instead of just feeling them and forgiving ourselves and allowing ourselves to live. And so, like, a lot of those things are addictive substances and overeating and all these other things. But one of the ways, especially the one that sticks out to me, is I choose to overwhelm myself with busyness. And that is relevant to this mental clarity and peacefulness, because that's what's stopping me. That's what stops me from allowing myself that peace, is that I'm insisting that I stay busy because I don't want to know what's going to happen if I just sit, So, we're going to go to the last section because we're running close to time here, and I want to respect your time and be be done on time. This last section, I honestly think it's the most important, and hopefully this is the part that like really just like changes your whole life. So again, I'm going to start, and this is the part where we're going to talk about that self-check and how to combat overwhelm and stress, which all of this is in the workbook, so go check out the workbook. So my favorite quote, like I told you yesterday, is from Frozen, and I think I have this quote in every single section of this workshop because it really is my favorite and it has that much meaning to me. It's from Frozen, and it says, "People make bad choices when they're mad or scared or stressed." And so we're going to focus on ourselves because goodness knows that we make bad choices when we're mad or scared or stressed too. It's not just the other people around us. And so that's where the self-check comes into play. When you are feeling burnt out, when you are feeling stressed out, like everyone's yelling at you at once, which sometimes is like legitimately the thing that's happening. That happens in my house a lot. When everything around you demands your attention. And you want to know the truth, like to me, my dishes yell at me. Do your dishes yell at you? My dirty floor that needs to be vacuumed, it yells at me. The laundry that is in baskets that needs to be folded and put away, the laundry that needs to get washed, it all yells at me. Do you ever feel like that as a mom? Not to mention my kids and the things that they need. Yeah, they want things all the time and at the same time, and then it's like, ah! So, I have this list, right, of the four things. The four things are diet, exercise, food, and rest. So those are the self-check, like, elements, okay? Have you eaten lately? And you know what I don't have on this list? I should have added a fifth one. That's, did you go to the bathroom lately? Because how often, do we go through our day and we're like in the middle of Walmart with all the kids yelling at us and everything's going crazy and we're running out of time and it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't peed in 2 hours and I have to pee so bad. No wonder I'm snapping at my kids. No wonder I can't think clearly about what's on our grocery list. I have to pee. And I've been holding it for a really long time. And instead of taking care of that, I've just ignored it. Again. Or, you haven't eaten for a while and your blood sugar's low and you're like, I'm hangry. Like everyone's yelling and getting on my nerves. They're not even yelling at me. They're just playing and having fun with each other and it's driving me insane. Why is it driving me insane? This shouldn't be bugging me so much. Oh, it's because I'm hungry. Because I'm hungry. I haven't done those things. And then the last one, I guess, is like, are you tired? Which, let's be honest, that's a lot of us, Am I overtired? And then recognizing when you're overtired, or if you have a day where you're like, I did not get enough sleep tonight or last night. I know that I'm going to be overtired for the rest of the day. Can you have more forgiveness and compassion for yourself that day? Can you do the self-care things you need, like going to bed extra early the next night? Can you give yourself some caffeine? Let's be honest, sometimes caffeine is self-care, right? Yes. So, as moms, we have a lot of this. There's a lot of demands that were put on us at once, and we really often put our own needs last. So we need to do all these preventative self-care things, right? The exercise routines and the eating. One thing that's really important about the eating thing is that when you eat regular, healthy meals, your blood sugar doesn't randomly crash at Walmart and make you hangry and cranky. Did you know this? If you proactively take care of your body as it needs care, you don't crash and have difficult, extra overwhelming times. That's another one that it takes a lot of practice. But that's why these preventative routines are so important, and honoring when you need to pee, honoring when you need to get a snack, honoring when you need to sit down and rest because you've been going all day long. Are you honoring the human that is you? So that's what today's talk is all about. But I do have the 5 steps to handle overwhelm when everything does come at you at once, I've got 5 steps for you. So first, this quote says, you can't calm the storm, so stop trying. What you can do is calm yourself. The storm will pass. I love that quote. It's in the workbook. It's amazing. I'm even going to say it again. You can't calm the storm, so stop trying. What you can do is calm yourself. The storm will pass. So, when everything is yelling at you at once, how do you calm the storm? Thanks, Emily. When everything is just going berserk, what do you do? Here's what you do. I have 5 steps for you. Step 1, recognize that you're overwhelmed. You cannot stop the internal chaos. You cannot fix the storm. Or like, hey, you can't stop the storm, but you can't calm yourself. You can't do anything to change the circumstances until you first recognize that you are overwhelmed. So step 1 is going, oh my gosh, I'm feeling burnt out. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Something's not right. And if the only way you can describe it is that your chest is really tight, because that's what happens to me, right? When I am feeling relaxed and at peace and everything's good, I feel like my chest feels relaxed, my heart feels open. When I am stressed out, and it's frequently around my kids, my chest tightens. It feels like a big ball knot right here. And it's like, oh, right? Does anyone else have that feeling? Just like, I can't even put it into words right now, but something's tight. Step 1 is recognizing that. I'm feeling stressed. I'm feeling overwhelmed. My chest is tight. Step 2 is to stop, right? Even if you're walking through Walmart and you're shopping, you can take a second to stop. Stop moving. Stop talking. Just take a breath. As we talked about in our deep meditation at the beginning, those big, deep belly breaths, they nourish every part of our body. So, and it calms you, actually. It's like a huge thing. So step 1 is recognition. Step 2 is stop and take a big, huge breath. Step 3, find something to be grateful for. And I know this sounds maybe cliche, maybe annoying, but what's going on is you're bogged down by everything coming at you at once, and you're in this really low energy, this really negative vibe, right? The fastest way out of that negative energy is gratitude. So what works for me, I can't remember if I told the story yesterday, but I'm going to tell it again. Actually, I think I told it yesterday to a bunch of other people, but not to you guys. I have a severely autistic, semi-verbal 11-year-old, and he never shuts up. He never stops talking. Like, he's in my face all the time, and he's repeating the same thing over and over and over and over again, and it is extremely overwhelming. I can't talk to people on the phone. I can't do anything because he's in my face all the time. But 4 years ago, Joshua was 7, and he had no voice. He couldn't talk at all. He didn't have a single that meant anything. He was completely and utterly nonverbal. And at 7 years old, he almost died. He was hospitalized for 3 days, and he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. He was in diabetic ketoacidosis. And we had spent years praying that he'd be able to talk, and I had completely given up. And then he almost died from DKA and type 1 diabetes. And then within a month of his diagnosis, he could say all his colors. And his speech, we'd had 7 years of intensive therapy and nothing worked. And then he almost died, and all of a sudden his voice came through. And now he, like I said, he never ever shuts up, and it's really overwhelming. And so when I'm in the middle of that overwhelm of him being in my face and I can't think, and he's literally like, if I don't like respond And it doesn't even matter what I say. He's not satisfied. He doesn't stop. If I don't respond and I just ignore it, he like grabs my face, which really drives me super nuts. But what really helps me in that moment is being grateful that he has a voice, because I know what it was like when he didn't. So recognize that you're feeling overwhelmed. Stop and take a breath. Find something to be grateful for. That gratitude will shift your vibe faster than anything else. It will take you out of that overwhelmed, overworked, pitiful, self-pity mindset, and it will change it faster than anything else ever. Find something to be grateful for. Number 4 is do the self-check that we talked about, right? People make bad choices when they're mad or scared or stressed. Do a self-check. When was the last time I sat down? Do I need to pee? Do I need to eat? Do I need to get more sleep tonight? Do I need some caffeine right now? Like, have I first taken care of me? Is there some reason inside of me that is making it so I am less patient with my circumstances? Because and I know that when I am taken care of, I am so much more patient with my kids and with whatever chaos gets thrown at me. And if I am not, and if I have to pee really bad, or if I haven't sat down all day, and if I haven't eaten, like if there's something going on with me that I haven't taken care of, I am snappy, I am mean, I am impatient, like I am not the person to be around. So do that self-check. And then step 5 is make a plan. Usually that plan's gonna involve taking care of yourself first. But if someone's on fire, you might want to go there first. If your kid has a knife, you might need to go there first and then take care of yourself. But make sure yourself is in that plan. And the reason that the plan is so important is because what you're doing is you're taking all of the chaos around you and you're going, what is most important? What needs my attention first? I'm going to tell you more often than not, the thing that needs your attention the most is you. But there are circumstances where that's not true, so it's not 100% of the time. Sometimes our kids are in all sorts of, shenanigans and chaos, and they need that attention first. But for the most part, they will live for a couple seconds while you go do what you need to be the patient parent you need to be. But you know what's going to help you be a patient parent is if you make a plan to fulfill your need. So maybe your plan is put out the fires that are going on, right? Like if there's a screaming baby and that's driving everyone insane, pick up the baby, right? Pick up the baby, calm the baby, give the baby a toy. I don't know, right? Do something, that's the part of the plan, right? It's like, what comes first? Prioritize. Pick something, do it. Pick something, do it. What's impacting you the most? Do that thing first. Don't think about any of the rest of the overwhelm. And I can tell you that the dishes are like not even on that list, usually, at first. Like maybe eventually they come to be on the list, but usually that overwhelmed, chaotic moment, the dishes and vacuuming the floor are not important. It's taking care of the people. And one of those people is you. And you cannot forget that. So again, the 5 steps, and we will wrap up really shortly. The 5 steps are recognize how you're feeling. Stop and breathe. Gratitude. Do a self-check. Make a plan. Pick the thing that is the most important and do it. And if there's things that are not important on that plan, throw them out the window, right? The dishes will wait. There's a lot of things that we overwhelm ourselves with that are not fires that need to be put out. They can wait. So as we wrap up, I have one more quote for you. The opposite of overwhelmed is inspired. This 5 steps to combat overwhelm will take you from being overwhelmed to being inspired. That's my promise for you. And inspired is in spirit, is feeling in control of your life and feeling led, right? Going from out of control to in control. So we're gonna wrap up for today because we've gone a little bit over. I apologize. But our homework for today, and make sure you go check out the homework from yesterday. Our homework for today is you're gonna write a list of goal routines that, the ideal. Here's what I wish my life looked like, right? Habits you would like to have that would increase your preventative self-care. And then you're gonna simplify it and be like, hey, here's what I can actually do right now, right? So that's what you're going to do. I'm going to go put that post up on Facebook and go do your homework. Share this if you feel so inclined. And don't forget to come back tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to talk about increasing your inner wholeness. And I am so passionate about that. All right. Love you guys. Have an amazing day. Bye. Oh my goodness, I absolutely adore doing this workshop with you guys. It lights me up so much to talk about these things, and I hope that you got so much out of it. I hope that you have learned how to honor your humanity in a way that will actually make an impact on your daily life. Please don't forget to come back tomorrow, because I will have day 3, and then the next couple days we'll have day 4 and 5, and these are all essential steps to learning how to care for you. So don't forget to come back, share this with somebody who needs to hear it, and I'm going to leave you with a song. I hope you have an awesome day.
Dear apathy, are you in love with me? Without I would cry. They say that it's okay to feel your feelings. Sometimes it's just too hard to feel your feelings. So I stopped crying and went back to apathy. Dear apathy, I need you here with me. You calm the tears I cry. I go up and I go down with my emotions. You keep me on solid ground with these emotions. I shut them down and went back to apathy. Dear apathy, they say you're wrong for me. But I just don't care. I'm afraid that it's far worse not to have you. I can't handle myself when I'm without you. I'm tired of fighting, tired of feeling it's all